the 3-hole.
Yeah, and Keegan, how about 4 homers and 11 ribbies this postseason? 5 for 14 with a homer and 2 ribeyes here at the College World Series. But the party always starts for the Commodores with Enrique Bradfield Jr., one of the most dynamic athletes in all of college baseball.
I usually go to Ben McDonald for a detailed scouting report. I'll ask you, what do you know about Garrett Payne?
Well, I know he's 6'7" and he weighs 187 pounds, so he's a long drink of water for sure. Making his first start of the year, he only has 6 appearances, and the last time he was on the bump, folks, game 1 of the Super Regional against Arkansas, he worked 2 1/3 and gave up 3 runs, walk run, and punched out 3.
Famously, the Cardiac Pack won the 1983 National Championship in basketball. This story, with all due respect to Jim Valvano, if they can pull this off, would eclipse even that in NC State lore. First pitch, strike to Enrique Bradfield, the leadoff hitter for Vanderbilt, one of the best base runners in the game of college baseball. Nothing and 2.
Just like that.
Little 3/4, so we're seeing him obviously for the first time. Low 3/4 slot, 6'7". Fastball away, a little sweeping breaking ball to get to 0-2.
Native of Charlottesville from the Miller School, a Virginia native, and now the 0-2 to Bradfield. Came in on it. At what point do the players on the field for North Carolina State who have not seen regular time, at what point do they settle?
It's going to take a minute. There's no doubt about it. I mean, just think about it. Like, not only have you not played in the College World Series, you haven't played. I mean, this is a team that pretty much ran 9 dudes out all year long.
There you go.
So they're missing 4 regulars. We got Monday's starting pitcher at first base. The second baseman. Now you have your first baseman playing left. You got your left fielder playing center.
You got your third baseman at short. You got brand new double play combo and a new center fielder. Welcome to Omaha. Bradfield with a tapper, great speed. Here's Falskin, and he makes the play on his first attempt in just his second start.
Elliot Avent told me, he said, you watch the first play of the game.
He did.
To Carson Falskin. And sure enough.
Now that needs to be explained just a little bit. When we were in our meetings with Elliot Avent this morning, we were aware that they would be missing one player, JT Jarrett, the starting second baseman. We did not know, and I don't know that anyone knew, that it would balloon to this.
Correct. Still pretty cool. He called it.
He did. He knew. Here's the switch hitting shortstop Carter Young for Vanderbilt. All this talk about North Carolina State, we've kind of pushed Vanderbilt to the back burner. This is the defending national champion from Nashville.
Yeah, and they got to keep their edge, right? Because you still got a team across from you of Division I baseball players, right? And NC State is a top 20 program. So even if these kids haven't been playing, these are real recruits, recruited by one of the best coaching staffs in America. So yeah, they don't have experience. You still got 5 regulars on the field.
Yeah, and look, they on scholarship too. Don't forget that. And these kids have had a, look, the years of going back to travel ball and bouncing around some of your teams here. Now, you don't want to see it happen at the College World Series, but the way they've been playing lately, it's a lot of confidence. And look, nothing to lose at this point, right? They're in the catbird seat in some ways. Got an extra game to play with. Maybe, maybe not. They get some players back tomorrow. Who knows? But right now, it's just go out and play. There's not a whole lot of pressure, I don't think, because of what's going on. And the fan base has certainly gotten behind them. Every time they take the field in warm-ups, the NC State folks are going nuts.
Well, they're trying to figure out who was going where in warm-ups, as were we. It kind of feels like a travel ball tournament and one of the minivans didn't show up.
Yes.
That is an empty.
Somebody got caught in traffic along the way.
It's very surreal.
Not only did Mama get a flat, but she's got all the key players with her. They're going to put the shift on here.
That's why you always divide your best players up in different cars.
Carter Young just 1 for 10 here at the College World Series with 5 strikeouts. And the Washington native fouls it back. I'm so excited to see how this game plays out for North Carolina State and the camaraderie among the guys left.
Oh, it's got a chance to be one of the most special stories you'll see in sports if they can pull this off.
Into the shift, Falskin, 2 down. Second start, first 2 balls right at it.
Well, if there's anybody that can pull this off and pull it together, it's Elliott Avent, right? 25 years at NC State. He has seen a lot. I don't think he's seen this before, but you know, if he can figure out a way here to rally his troops, and he's been able to do it all year long, and going to be an uphill climb for sure. You got to face Kumar Rocker, who, you know, potentially going to be a top 5 pick in the country here in a couple of weeks.
First baseman Dominic Keegan, 15 home runs in the season, 4 in the NCAA tournament. It was interesting as we were trying to figure out who would be in uniform for North Carolina State from the press box, and Chris Budden was doing it on the field. So were the Vanderbilt coaches, lined up the first railing, checking rosters and checking off numbers and names.
Yeah, they were truly scouting during infield outfield just to see, okay, are these real position players? Do we get pitchers playing spots? And really, Highfield's the only one that checks that box. Other than that, NC State's got a real team of position players out there.
Right, and it's a good point about Vanderbilt, right? The tendency is to let your guard down a little bit, you know. And here at the College World Series, especially in the game of baseball, out of all our major sports, this is the one sport you can't take anything for granted, because we have seen some special things happen.
2-1 to Keegan.
Well, and I think as you see Luca Tresh present that ball so well, what a advantage, right? Or advantage is the wrong word. At least they have their starting catcher, right? Because if you ended up in a situation where you had no catchers, that's when this thing could have really been awkward.
Don't know if they would have played. Up and in. Full count.
And remember, this is a Vanderbilt offense, y'all, that's had its struggles as of late. You know, we're used to seeing them throughout the regular season average well over 7 runs per game, but they're averaging less than 4 runs a game their last 5 games. The offense has not been clicking. The pitch has been really good, but the offense has not been the typical Vanderbilt offense that we have seen for most of the year.
They had to pull off a couple of walk-off wins. Keegan with a 2-out walk will extend this opening inning. Tim Corbin has a pair of national championships in his back pocket, but he's never had to scout a team pregame like this. Clipboard out, going down the list and trying to figure out who's going to be on the field for the opposition. His eyes were as busy as yours, Berkey.
Well, and I think obviously he has to do that, right? Because you're trying to identify outfield arms. But again, it's 2/3 of your normal starting outfield, and you got a guy that's a Gold Glove first baseman now in left field. So you figure he will represent himself well out there. I think defensively, North Carolina State will be fine. I think the issue will be with the 4 regulars out of the batting order. Can the offense click at the level that we're used to seeing them?
And the depth of your pitching,
yes,
right?
Of course.
That's another big one for me. In the perfect scenario, Payne, who has not had a big workload this year, you know, he could give you 5 innings, but you know, he hasn't been there this year. First start of the year.
Bottom half of the lineup will be a huge question mark when it comes to offensive production. To your all's point, 8 starts combined among the bottom 4, and Highfield, one of those. That was probably, you know, slid in there for a DH start.
Yeah.
Never came to the plate.
But, hey, look, those first 5 can hurt you. And so Kumar's going to have to still make pitches.
The 1-1 to Troy Lanier. I don't know if Garrett Payne feels the pressure, but it's got to be extra important for him to be as efficient as possible in this game.
Well, the good news for him is when he got to the ballpark today, he knew that he wasn't going to pitch. And sometimes when you don't know and all of a sudden the bell rings and you got to get up quick and get going, you don't have that nervousness because you don't have time to.
We would hate to see this game end early, but you heard Chris Budden's report pregame that Elliott Avent has said if injuries become an issue, we'll just take the forfeit and come back and play tomorrow. He could also hold on to that card and fold if pitching depth becomes an issue in this game and they're trailing.
Yeah.
The big pot, a trip to the College World Series finals and a chance at a national championship.
Well, and Payne does have an outing this year. It was just 3 innings, but he has an outing against North Carolina where he threw 65 pitches. He is somewhat, he threw 34 in the Super against Arkansas, so he is somewhat stretched out.
Season high against North Carolina. The 1-2. Swing and a miss on 88. Garrett Payne gets to start in the College World Series, and he works his way around a 2-out walk. We'll see what the Pack has to offer at the plate next. Well, it's a beautiful day for baseball after all. We had a lengthy rain delay last night that got us started extremely late. And a crushing loss for Virginia as Texas got a bases clearing double from Zach Zubia in the top of the ninth to win it 6-2. It'll be Texas and Mississippi State, 7 o'clock Eastern on ESPN. Javier Vaz leads off for Vanderbilt.
That's up.
And the first pitch from Garrett Payne misses up. Vaz making only his 8th start of the season for Vanderbilt. Tim Corbin kind of shuffled some guys around late in the season. And not only that, but some of his right-handers have really been struggling. So more opportunities for the lefties to get the start in this one.
Inside.
What do you think Corbin's thinking coming into this game? Take NC State's COVID situation out of it. Where does Tim Corbin in respect to what Vanderbilt has been doing offensively?
Well, I think it's interesting. You're talking about a team here in the Final Four, and yet he's still trying to figure out pieces that can stretch the lineup a little bit. And so Javier Vaz has been playing here a lot lately over the last few weeks because he keeps giving them quality at bats. The numbers aren't spectacular because he just hasn't played a ton, but you're talking about he's the reason they're still playing, right? The walk-off Brendan Beck kept the game alive the other day.
Well, remember, he got inserted about regional time, and not for offense, for defense, to put him in the outfield, to have a little bit more speed, a guy that could cover a little bit more ground. Well, he's raised his batting average 100 points since the regionals because he didn't have many at-bats, but he's been hitting the ball too, so it was a defensive move that has paid off, but offensively, as you mentioned, a big game, and he was big in the regionals, he was big in the super regionals for him as well.
Vandy needs all the help it can get, which sounds weird to say, as this ball's rocketed into right field. Brown! Oh! Wow! Devontae Brown! Take a bow!
You don't think the boys are ready to play? They don't care. They don't care what's going on. They said, you know what? We're going to take the field today, and we're going to go play.
That was spectacular. An absolute rocket off the bat of Vaz. And Devontae Brown goes Superman style to make that play and erase extra bases from the Commodores.
Here's C.J. Rodriguez. You know, every year in Omaha, one team captures the locals' attention and hearts, and you get all the folks that don't have rooting interest pulling for you. Easy to see with plays like that. And this situation for State, that they're going to pull those neutral fans over to their side today.
Well, that's all you need to see right there. That effort tells me everything you need to know about NC State and where their mentally where they are right now and what their mindset is. And their mindset is we're going to line it up and we're going to go play like we have so many times this year.
Catcher C.J. Rodriguez has been sensational defensively. I mentioned a moment ago that not much room for error for this Vanderbilt team, but they have survived. Each of Vandy's last 7 matchups have been one-run contests entering the 9th inning. 2 walk-offs here in Omaha for Vanderbilt, and lost a 1-0 thriller to State earlier this College World Series. Here's Devontae Brown again.
Well, the first step, always the first one. He got a really good one, and the timing was perfect as he laid out to catch this ball. Watch this. Right off the left foot. Catches it almost a little bit behind him as well. And you know your starting pitcher, all 6'7" of him. And Garrett Payne appreciates that.
First start for Garrett Payne as Parker Nolan comes to the plate. Ben, you mentioned that Payne came out of the dugout a little late for a normal starting pitcher before this half inning.
Yeah, you know, but so far the moment's not been too big for him. We watched him in the dugout, watched him come back on the field. He seems to be nice and calm.
Rodriguez not likely to run, just 1 stolen base in 1 attempt this year. Lined into center. Butler's turn. Caught that one chin high. 2 down.
Well, and this is the formula, right? You got an offensive Vanderbilt not clicking on all cylinders. If you can fill up the zone and play defense behind them, you got a ballpark that traditionally plays big and will not give up, right? Easy home runs. You got an outfield that can really run, and you never know. Get this thing in the middle innings. Keep it within striking distance. Again, you just feel like the pressure has to be on Vanderbilt's shoulders. Not only elimination game, but, of course, the circumstances as well.
Rodriguez at first, Spencer Jones at the plate.
Attaboy, good job.
Jones, a 31st round pick of the Angels coming out of high school in 2019, where he was a 4.0 student. 6'7", 225 from Encinitas, California. In and out of the lineup. Jones makes his 23rd start today. The 0-2 to short. Menchik. No problem. No problem when you got Devontae Brown making plays like this.
The Wolfpack, ladies and gentlemen. You just never know. Could be a special afternoon here in Omaha. Devontae Brown. Big time play.
Nothing short of drama for Vanderbilt in everything they've done in the postseason. 7 straight, by the way, 1-run games entering the 9th inning. Jason Gonzalez at the plate. Here's where I think the umpires got all of that wrong. Appendix E of the college baseball rulebook, getting the call right. The ultimate decision to change a call rests with the umpire. There are 8 scenarios where you can change a call on the field without instant replay. Number 8. Changing a call of foul to fair. They called it foul. They knew it was fair. They changed it to fair, and then they changed their mind back. According to the rule book, that is a misinterpretation of the rules.
And it was obvious that Chris Hart pointed out to them that this wasn't, I think, right? They had a mark on the third base line.
And the reason that's in the rule book is simple. If the situations that I just explained, meaning number 8, fair foul, a partner who's 100% certain he has additional information unknown to the umpire making the call should approach unsolicited, alert the other umpire to such information, and the calling umpire can make that change.
And he did.
He did. And then they reversed it. Here's Jason Gonzalez batting in the 9-hole. He's not your typical 9-hole hitter. He has come up with some huge at-bats in his Vanderbilt career.
Yeah, and specifically here at the College World Series, we just showed his walk-off base hit to beat Arizona. Has a homer and 3 ribbies. One of the more dangerous 9-hole hitters you will find.
Eight home runs, 2 of them in the postseason, and Garrett Payne comes up with a huge strikeout, second K. First trip through the order, Garrett Payne in his first start hasn't allowed a hit. Here's Chris.
Tom, the frustration's starting to add up in this NC State dugout. They've been so good about remaining positive until this last time. After that call, things thrown, things said, it's starting to pile up for them.
Corners are in for Enrique Bradfield. A bright spot has been Garrett Payne. NC State only has 4 pitchers available for this game of the College World Series. They are undefeated 2-0. This is double elimination. They can afford a loss and come back and try again tomorrow.
Attaboy, go.
Bradfield fouls one off. He grounded out to second his first time up.
Well, Garrett Payne's showing you 3 different pitches. So we've seen the fastball, mostly on arm side. Low breaking ball, kind of sweeps it across. It's more of a horizontal break than it is vertical. And then he's got a changeup we've seen 3 or 4 times today.
Bradfield, freshman of the year in the SEC from Hialeah, Florida, out of American heritage. We were talking a few days ago about the great football history of American heritage. They have 5 NFL draft picks this year. And he flicks this one foul, stays 1-2. Are you seeing something different from Enrique Bradfield in Omaha or in the postseason that you saw in the regular season?
Yeah, it's been interesting. I mean, he swung the bat. He swung the bat very well, but for whatever reason, just has not pulled the trigger on the base pass. We've been seeing Mike Antico from Texas running all over the place. Enrique Bradfield yet to attempt a stolen base here in Omaha.
Giles has room. Checked the railing and made the catch with a little lean. 2 down.
Well, all's well that ends well. D'Angelo Giles, not exactly the smoothest route to finishing that playoff. Tons of foul territory here at TD Ameritrade. You got to avoid the umpire. You got to find the boundary. You got to look again. A little bit of a stumble, but a heck of a play to finish that one off. Ooh.
That'll bring Carter Young to the plate. Also of note, all of this happened with North Carolina State with guys being pulled off the field very late. They did take infield, outfield, but it's not like they had a full batting practice with the limited roster where guys who are playing for the first time here in Omaha could get used to the field, the dimensions, the sight lines, any of that.
Yeah, I mean, look, Giles and Falskin are infielders. They've been out here taking pregame and working out all week. They just haven't been out there in game reps, and we know how different that can be.
We saw a little infield practice, though.
Yeah.
They get some reps in.
To first, Highfill, starting pitcher playing first, takes care of it. And Sam Highfill will get his first plate appearance of the season. He will lead off the third. No score between Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt trying to make it to the weekend, a win here, and they'll force a decisive game tomorrow with NC State. Dominic Keegan, Troy Leneve, and Javier Vaz due up for Vanderbilt here in the 4th. Nothing doing so far for the Vandy offense against Garrett Payne. How anxious is Vandy to get some offense and the impact that has on how long Kumar Rocker goes in this one?
Yeah, I think it's an interesting kind of subplot in this ball game, right? Because we all know the circumstances. Now, we're not sure what tomorrow looks like, but you got to think at least it's going to be still a very limited North Carolina State roster, right? So, you know, in a perfect world, if you're a Vanderbilt fan, you put up a big number early in this ball game, and Kumar Rocker doesn't have to go late and high in the pitch count. And maybe if you're able to get to the finals and get to a game 3, you could get significant work from him again in that game.
That would be perfect scenario for Vanderbilt. But this offense, I'm just telling you, it is not the same offense we saw 2 months ago.
Keegan pulls one down the line. That's a foul ball.
And you knew that was coming. A little sarcastic laugh from the Wolfpack faithful. Or cheer, I should say.
Dominic Keegan, a junior from Methuen, Massachusetts, at a Central Catholic high school. Would have been facing State more often had Virginia Tech not let Pat Mason, their head coach, go a few years ago. Originally committed to be a Hokie. Decommitted after that coaching change. Ends up on Nashville's West End. And he got off to a rollicking start despite the fact that he missed time with COVID. It was complicated due to the fact that he has had vascular injuries in his past. Vanderbilt takes students and moves them into a different facility. So he was in there on his own in a room. He took a drop net with him, some dumbbells, seclusion for 10 days, still got his swings. Oh, Highfill can't pick it up. A pitcher over at first. And Keegan reaches to start the 4th.
Well, you got a pitcher at first, and you got a third baseman at short, and there's our first real test, right? Wojta Minshik playing shortstop instead of third base. Does everything correct. Just kind of short arms the throw a little bit. A bullet hit right at him. Does a nice job. Watch the shuffle. It just throws it short. And Highfill maybe could have gone out there and caught that ball in the air a little bit. Does a nice job of striding towards the baseball. And that one just catches him in the heel. A tough chance. And Vanderbilt has a leadoff base runner.
Here's Troy Leneve, struck out swinging, and he drops a bunt down to third. Giles has it. One down. Keegan advances.
Well, when you see a pitcher for the first time, and Vanderbilt probably didn't do a whole lot of prep work for Garrett Payne because he was not supposed to pitch in this game, but it's been some sweeping sliders on the arm side, so he's been able to get that backdoor breaking ball going right to the front door on the right-hander. So there's a lot of first pitch sliders to get ahead, and then he's going up in his zone he's needed to, so it's been kind of slow it down with the slider and then work the fastball to the upper part of the strike zone. And Garrett Payne is doing some work right now, folks.
Undone by the error to start the inning with Vaz coming to the plate. What does that sacrifice bunt from Leneve tell you about Tim Corbin's thinking?
He wants to get on the board, right? He wants to play with the lead. I also think you start the inning with an E6 from a guy who's been playing third base all year. Then you got a guy playing shortstop. Now you got a guy playing third base that hasn't played very much. I think part of the Vanderbilt game plan might be to make these guys play catch. Like let's test them and see where they're at. And that was a nice job by Giles there of making a strong throw across the high field.
Vaz flew out to right field his first time up. Might be a little early to ask you this question, Ben, but what do you think's fair to expect from Payne in terms of production today?
Well, I think if they can get 70 pitches out of him, I think that's about all you can get because he hasn't been stretched out that much. And I think for me, you know, they get 5 innings out of him and he gives up 1 run or certainly keeps throwing up zeros. That's all you can expect.
Good.
There are reports that North Carolina State could expect to clear more players for tomorrow's game. We don't know who those players would be. We don't know if that's technically possible at this point, but it's certainly going to play into Elliott Avant's thinking when it comes to managing this bullpen. Beautiful pitch, 0-2.
Well, we saw how Elliott Avant managed his pitching staff in game 1 of the Super Regionals against Arkansas, right? I mean, they got beat 21-2, and it's not that he gave up. He just threw some guys that don't normally get to throw because he realized that game 1 might have been out of reach, and he saved his guys. He saved his dudes, and he knew he had some dudes left, and they were able to knock off Arkansas, the #1 team in the country, in Fayetteville, and win the final 2 games of that Super Regional.
Tap back to the mound, look to third, throw to first, 2 down. Keegan advances 90 feet on the ground out.
Boy, Garrett Payne has answered every challenge to this point. He's filling the zone up. He's changing speeds. Now he's fielding his position, right? He's shown great body language after error to lead off the inning, which can sometimes be deflating when you know you're up against an ace like Kumar Rocker. And now he's got a chance to post to 0 and throw 4 shutout to start this ball game.
Here's Vandy catcher C.J. Rodriguez.
Boy, it's been more of the same, and it's going to be interesting how Vanderbilt starts to react, and can they make adjustments the second time through the lineup, because it's almost every pitch is a first pitch breaking ball for a strike.
Nothing and 2.
It's almost the same sequence, so it's breaking ball, strike 1, and the elevated fastballs to get ahead.
Hey, right here, you and me.
Well hit down the left field line and into the seats.
It's really interesting the way Payne has changed speeds, and so far from Vanderbilt, they're early on the breaking ball and late on the heater.
And they're not offering it many breaking balls either, especially early. Like, he's just kind of flipping get me over breaking balls in there, and they've taken a lot of them. Now you got to swing at them 2 strike counts.
That one will get through. Vandy will grab the lead. C.J. Rodriguez with an RBI single.
And that on the previous offering but just doing a really nice job there of extending the life of the barrel. Watch the top hand release. So there's the breaking ball just kind of sitting there. Watch this top hand release. Getting that back knee, release the top hand, which keeps the barrel square so you don't roll it over. And just enough to get it through the 6-hole. The difference between a ground ball to third base and a line drive to left oftentimes is that barrel staying square just an extra click longer.
Here's Parker Nolan, 0 for 1 with a hard hit ball to center field on a line out to Johnny Butler. Nolan, sophomore from Knoxville, Tennessee, out of Farragut High School, 31st round pick of the Marlins in 2019. Line drive to left, and that one's down. Back-to-back hits, the first 2 of the game for Vanderbilt against Garrett Payne.
Well, here's your adjustments, right? I mean, you see it the first time through, and you start to make some adjustments. And the backside approach off of a guy that you don't know that much about is probably a good idea. And a pretty good backside approach that was.
65 was the season high for pitches for Garrett Payne. Clint Chrysler, the NC State pitching coach, 3rd season at NC State.
Well, if we were wondering what the pitch limit was for Garrett Payne, I think we got a pretty good idea of the fact that nobody's warming up in the bullpen.
Right. If this becomes an unwinnable game for NC State, or seemingly unwinnable, do they continue playing?
That's a tough one.
It's a great question.
I mean, what's unwinnable? 8, 10, 12? I mean, I don't think you cash in your chips at 6. But
no,
what we don't know is who they think they could get back tomorrow. That's the piece that makes it very hard to forecast.
I think what makes it unwinnable is if you give up a slew of runs and Rocker continues to be Rocker. I would feel differently if this were a 7-game series. It's only down to a 2-game series. It does NC State no good to stretch Rocker out. That only benefits the next opponent. (1-0) hit him. They will get action in the bullpen. Dalton Feeney is available for North Carolina State. He will head out. There are only 4 pitchers available.
But you know, Tom, you bring up a good point. Like it is different because it's only 2 games if they're unable to win this one, but it is another game. So if you can keep it close and get to, say, Maldonado, right, then you know, maybe you can at least.
You can burn other arms.
Yes, maybe you can get into the bullpen enough where you do limit Tim Corbin's options for tomorrow.
Yeah, that's a great point. Vanderbilt, if they only have to use Rocker today, would have fresh, talented arms out of the pen. And also allow them to save Leiter for a championship series appearance. Jason Gonzalez at the plate, bases loaded, 2 down.
Yeah.
That one gets to the backstop past Tresh. Rodriguez will come home. It's 2-0 Vanderbilt. And I realize it's only 2-0. I don't want to put the cart before the horse, but it feels like it's a larger deficit than that already.
Yeah, and it feels like it can get away in a hurry, and that's the danger, you know. And the danger with trying to keep it close is you do make Vanderbilt maybe burn some arms, but as you guys said, the big question for me is what do you have in your bullpen? And the longer this goes, the more arms you have to use, and you don't know what's going to be available to you tomorrow.
What do you value more, your bullpen arms or theirs? Here's the 2-0 to Jason Gonzalez with first base open. Devontae Brown racing towards the line, now got a push, and he makes a catch against the railing. Vanderbilt has opened up a 2-0 lead. We'll talk.
RBI, they would go on to win the game on a walk-off wild pitch. This freshman right here You love the emotion and the energy he plays with. Just so many tangibles and intangibles you love in a leadoff hitter.
0 for 2 today with a ground out and a pop-up. Garrett Payne on the mound for State, and this one ridden into center field. Butler has it. Garrett Payne had a pretty good coach to learn from at Miller School in Charlottesville. A guy by the name of Billy Wagner could throw the ball a little bit back in his playing days.
Billy Wagner from the left side with some something to it.
Oh, little Hundy piece. Former Astro great. Son played for Liberty this year. Got knocked out in the Knoxville Regional, but acquitted themselves quite nicely, making it to the finals.
Here's Carter Young, couple of ground outs for the Vandy shortstop today.
Elliot Avon, that last half inning, had a heart-to-heart with Garrett Payne, said, I just need one more inning from you. If you can get me 3 outs, we win this ball game.
Love it. Love it. Keep fighting, keep competing, keep getting your kids to believe, right? We're going to win this game.
It's a season-high innings pitched and pitches thrown for the big right-hander Garrett Payne.
Dalton Feeney threw a little bit right before the game. Get a feel for the bullpen mound, and he is getting loose now. Dominic Keegan walked in the first, reached on an error by the shortstop Menchik in the fourth.
I got that right at the bottom, Luca.
I wouldn't be surprised if Tim Corbin doesn't pick a pitch here to hit and run at some point. You get a guy in Keegan that has fantastic bat control, get the backside hole open, and a guy who can run in Carter Young. Now on 0-2, you put that one in your back pocket. It's interesting that Garrett Payne has done a nice job of keeping these Vanderbilt hitters guessing and uncomfortable. Just hadn't seen a lot of real aggressive swings by the Commodores.
Yeah, velo's starting to drop a little bit for him, but it's okay. He's spotting the fastball, and he's still spinning that breaking ball in there. So he started off right around 88 to 90, kind of down to 85, 86 now. Expected because of where his workload this year.
You get a look right there at the horn series by the Wolfpack. You see the horn sign from Luca Tresh back there. Horns 3 that I assume has some sort of cadence with it. Looks like we're going heater here.
There he goes. No. And throw behind him. Oh, ball dropped by Sam Highfield.
Boy, Carter Young. Oh, it looks like Highfield whiffed the tag. Yeah, and then dropped the ball anyway.
Yeah, a good backdoor slide, right? Carter Young going towards the right field side of the bag.
Two and two to Keegan. And Keegan goes down. Another K for Garrett Payne, 2 down in the 5th. This week's Sunday Night Baseball game, the series finale between the Cubs and the Dodgers. Cubs had a combined no-no against the Dodgers last night, the first in franchise history. Craig Kimball said, I came out of the bullpen. I had no idea we had a no-hitter going. Our coverage begins at 6 Eastern, 3 Pacific with baseball tonight, Sunday Night Countdown on ESPN and the app. One app, one tap. Of course, David Ross, Cubs manager, played here in Omaha not once but twice, not one team but two, with both Auburn and Florida. Sky to deep right. Devontae Brown a step onto the track or two. And that'll close the Vandy fifth. Rocker coming back out with 8 strikeouts in his bag, and we'll learn about Elliott Avent's day when we return. 6-2 win for Texas over Virginia yesterday. Javier Vaz shows bunt, pulls it back, and takes the ball 1-0. You know, you say this in football all the time, the longer the underdog sticks around in the game, the more confidence grows on that side of the field, more opportunities they have for a break to go their way. And while NC State is 2-0, they only have 13 players available total in this one, decided underdogs given their health and safety regulations.
And who's on the mound, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you got a freshman who's coming into this game with a 7+ ERA and had not started a game all year, going against a top 5 pick in the upcoming draft, and yet here they are in a 1-run ball game in the 6th.
But you get the feeling Payne's not going to be out there much longer. I mean, look, he's over 20 pitches more than his season high this year, and the stuff for me is just not quite the same.
Temperature in the mid-80s today, cloud cover, so it's not as hot as it could be, but he certainly looked like he was running a little bit low on petrol coming out last half inning. 5-pitch walk puts Javier Vaz on. Payne has hit a couple batters. He has walked 3. Another has reached out an error, but he's held Vandy to just 2 hits. Checking in with the bullpen. C.J. Rodriguez wondering if he will face Payne or the next man up. If NC State can pull this thing off, Garrett Payne has earned folk hero status with his performance in this one.
Oh, no doubt. I mean, you come to the park today not even thinking you got a chance to get in the ball game to all of a sudden start in a College World Series game. And the most you'd worked was a little over 3 innings all year long and thrown 65 pitches, and yet you turn around against a Vanderbilt offense and you're in the ball game. And he's allowed 2 runs, but don't forget, they're both unearned runs.
Yeah. No, I mean, just went toe-to-toe with Kumar Rocker. And the innings before, 8 2/3 before he showed up here this afternoon. 12 hits, 7 earnings today. 5 innings, 2 hits, no earned runs, and he has given the Wolfpack a real chance to win this ball game.
Payne will give way to Dalton Feeney, and the NC State faithful will show their appreciation for the spot starter Garrett Payne, with an opportunity to send NC State to the College World Series Finals in an unexpected outing on the mound.
Well, how about you, Garrett Payne? Young man, 6'7", true freshman. He missed some bats today. Weak contact, balls off the end of the bat. He changed speeds really well with his changeup and his breaking ball. Fielded his position well, and he wanted 2 with 2 strikes. We saw him start to elevate that fastball, especially early in the game, with enough heat on it to get it by Vanderbilt. And he has positioned NC State with a chance in a 2-1 ball game. He works a season high 5+ innings pitched. A little tap on the shoulder and said, appreciate that, coach.
Can't outfox a fox. That's what Ella Davis.